Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Tech with Amul. If you are someone who wants to learn data engineering from scratch, build real world Azure project and actually understand how this tool works instead of memorizing steps, you are at the right place. On this channel, we are not just going to talk about theory. We are going to build real projects step by step. We are going to make mistakes, debug them, and understand why things work the way they are. Whether you are a beginner trying to break into data engineering or someone already working and wanting deeper clarity about the Azure tools, this channel is perfect for you. And today, we are starting with something very important, the complete Azure architecture. Before we start building pipelines and writing transformation, we need to understand how everything connects together. So let's begin. Alright, so in this video, I want to clear one very big confusion that almost every beginner has when starting with Azure Data Engineering. You keep hearing words like data lake, Azure Data Factory, Databricks, Synapse, or Power BI, and it feels like everything is disconnected. You don't know how these tools actually fit together. So today I am not writing any code, I am not building any pipeline. I just want to show you the complete end-to-end architecture and explain how everything connects in the real world. By the end of this video, you will understand the entire flow from data source to dashboard. Let's start from the beginning. In real world data engineering, data does not come clean and beautiful. It comes messy. It comes from APIs. It comes from databases, then applications, CSV files, and external vendors. And data is very large. Sometimes it's in a millions or billions or trillions of record. So the first question is, how do we bring this data into Azure in a structured and reliable way? That's where ingestion comes in. In Azure, the main orchestration tool we use for ingestion is Azure Data Factory. Think of ADF as the traffic controller. It does not perform heavy transformation. Instead, it coordinates the movement of data. It connects to your source system, pulls data, schedules the pipeline, handles retries if something fails, and change the overall workflow. It is the backbone of the automation. Now, once the data is pulled, where does it go? It goes into Azure Data Lake Gen 2. This is what we call bronze layer. The bronze layer stores data exactly as it comes from the sources. No cleaning, no transformation, or no business logic. And this is very important because if something breaks later, maybe your transformation logic was wrong. You can always go back and pull the raw data and reprocess it. This is one of the biggest best practice in data engineering. Always preserve your raw data. Now raw data is usually messy. It may have a duplicates. It may have missing values. It may have an inconsistent format also. So the next step is transformation. This is where Azure Databricks comes in the picture. Databricks is powered by Apache Spark. It is built for the large scale distributed processing. Here is where we clean the data, we remove duplicates and enforce the schemas and applies the business logic. We also join the data sources, then we structure the data properly. The output of this stage is called silver layer. Silver layer is a clean and structured layer. It is ready for analytics, but we are not done yet. Business users don't directly query on the silver layer. They don't query on the raw tables with complex joins. They need a structure and optimized model. So we move to the next stage, that is gold layer. In the gold layer, we create fact table, dimension table, aggregation, and optimize the schemas. Often this is served as using a Azure Synapse or dedicated SQL layer. This layer is built specifically for reporting and fast queries. And finally, business user connect through Power BI. Power BI reads the gold layer and create dashboards, KPIs, reports, and visualization. At this stage, technical data becomes business insight. Now let's quickly summarize. Data comes from external system. Azure Data Factory pulls the data, then it lands on a data lake as a bronze layer as a raw data. Then Databricks transform this data into the silver layer, and then Synapse structures that into the gold layer. Then we use a Power BI for the visualization. This is a complete Azure Data Engineering architecture. Now there are also important things happening in the background. Security using managed identities and RBAC, then monitoring, checking our pipeline failures, then cost optimization, choosing correct storage tiers, then performance tuning, partitioning, and indexing. These are not optimal in a real life project. They are mandatory. But for now, I want you to focus on the core flow. If you understand the architecture deeply, you are already ahead of the many beginners. Because most of the people directly jump into tools without understanding how they connect to each other. In the next videos, we will start implementing this architecture step by step. We will create data lake. We will build pipelines in on a Azure Data Factory. We will create dynamic pipeline using for each and lookup. We will also move into Databricks for transformation. But everything starts with understanding the big picture. If this video help you finally connect the dots, then stay with me because we are going to build this entire system from scratch. And trust me, by the end of this series, you won't just know Azure tools, you will know how this will help in your real world data engineering solution. I will see you in the next video.